Welcome back to the channel where rare finds, shocking values, and unbelievable stories from the world of numismatics come alive. And today we've got something truly incredible lined up for all of you coin collectors, treasure hunters, and enthusiasts of American currency, because what if I told you that a seemingly ordinary 2005 1-cent coin, yes, just a penny minted in the year 2005, has astounded the coin community by being valued at a jaw-dropping $11 million, and the story behind it isn't just about age or rarity, but a fascinating blend of mint errors, production mistakes, rare variants, unexplained anomalies, and circumstances that transformed this humble coin into a legendary artifact of modern American minting history. So sit tight as we unravel layer after layer of hidden value, overlooked brilliance, and mind-blowing error combinations that all converge in one astonishing specimen that broke all expectations and is now considered one of the most valuable Lincoln cents ever discovered in circulation, because this 2005 penny, which began its life at the Philadelphia Mint, carries with it a mysterious blend of traits so rare that even seasoned collectors and grading experts took a moment of stunned silence when it first came to auction. And its story begins with the planchette, the blank piece of metal from which the coin is struck, because unlike standard copper-plated zinc planchets used since 1982, this particular 2005 cent was mistakenly struck on a leftover bronze planchette intended for foreign coinage, possibly linked to a batch intended for US-minted foreign contract coins, and this immediately gave the coin a different weight and color that, to the trained eye, stood out from the crowd. And that's just the start, because when the striking process began, the dies used had misalignments that were subtle yet profound. The obverse die, which holds Abraham Lincoln's profile, was slightly rotated and off-center, causing a dramatic misalignment that led to a partial collar strike, where the edge of the coin bulged out abnormally, producing a railroad rim effect cherished among error collectors. And then there's the double die anomaly, a phenomenon in which the coin is struck more than once due to a misregistration of the die alignment, resulting in noticeable doubling on Lincoln's profile, particularly around his eyes, beard, and the lettering In God We Trust, Liberty, and the date 2005, with each of these areas showing strong and unmistakable doubling under magnification, and even to the naked eye, the doubling is oddly vivid, creating a shadowy appearance that instantly separates it from the typical 1-cent coin. But even more unusual was the reverse, the side with the Lincoln Memorial, because this specific example showed signs of a rare reverse cut, a die break along the upper rim that led to a blob of extra metal above the memorial, disrupting the rim's clean circular edge and adding yet another layer of dramatic appeal to this already error-packed specimen. And what makes the reverse even more exciting is the presence of a ghost image, an underlying imprint of part of the obverse that seems to have transferred during a faulty planchette preparation process, hinting that the coin might have been involved in a rare brokerage or die cap event at some point during its creation, though not to a fully formed state. And all these anomalies were preserved because the coin was somehow never subjected to heavy circulation, its surfaces still glowing with a red-brown luster, almost as though it had been plucked from the mint shortly after production and lost in a drawer or old jar until it resurfaced decades later, astonishing the collector community when it showed up at a local coin show before eventually being authenticated and slabbed by PCGS, who confirmed the errors and gave it a remarkable MS65 RB grade, preserving not just its condition but also verifying all the incredible minting errors that make this coin unique. And collectors from around the world began to bid furiously as the auction opened, with online platforms buzzing, phone lines ringing, and a standing room-only crowd watching in suspense as the price soared past $1 million, then $3 million, then $7 million, until finally closing at an unbelievable $11 million, making it one of the highest prices ever paid for a modern penny and sparking an uproar of excitement and hope among everyday collectors who now began combing through their change for overlooked treasures from the 2000s, a decade that most had dismissed as too recent to contain anything valuable. But the 2005 penny proved them wrong in spectacular fashion, showing how overlooked errors, rare metal compositions, and lucky flukes in production can create a one-of-a-kind coin that defies expectations. And when we examine the context of the US Mint in 2005, we find more clues that help us understand how this coin might have come to be, because that year, the Mint was producing an enormous number of coins, experimenting with die lifespans and striking pressures to maximize efficiency, sometimes pushing equipment beyond optimal thresholds, which might have contributed to the die misalignment, the doubled dies, and the faulty collar placement. And if that weren't enough, there's also the speculation that the coin might have been struck using retired dies that weren't properly stored, which could account for the presence of microdoubling seen under microscopic inspection on Lincoln's coat, lettering edges, and the columns of the memorial, tiny ripples that speak to a production process not entirely within spec. And beyond the physical errors, there's also a historical mystery at play, because no other confirmed example with this exact set of errors has ever been found from 2005, making it a unique specimen, a unicorn in the world of modern cents, and numismatists continue to debate whether this was an accidental survival of an experimental piece, a rogue mint employee's attempt at producing an unofficial pattern coin, or simply a serendipitous convergence of multiple flukes in the production process. But whatever the cause, the end result is a coin that is not only visually compelling but also technically complex, and its story continues to inspire collectors to look closer at even the most recent coins, to appreciate the history embedded in our pocket change, and to remember that incredible value can lie hidden in the most unexpected places. And the $11 million 2005 penny stands today not just as a monetary marvel but as a testament to the enduring excitement of coin collecting, reminding us that even in an age of digital transactions and paperless commerce, the tangible artistry, history, and unpredictability of physical currency still has the power to amaze, astonish, and change lives forever. And as more collectors dig into 2005 rolls, more questions emerge about the potential for similar examples to exist. Are there more of these bronze planchet off-metal strikes out there that simply haven't been discovered? And could someone be walking around with a fortune in their pocket, unaware that their change jar holds one of the rarest errors in modern minting history? Because the truth is that such errors often go unnoticed for years, sometimes decades, before someone with curiosity and a keen eye uncovers them. And that's why collectors, especially beginners, are encouraged to examine every coin they come across, to study the dates, the edges, the weight, the sound, the texture, and all the tiny details that can point to something extraordinary hiding in plain sight. Because while the $11 million coin is unique, the possibility of finding something valuable is not just a dream but a very real possibility grounded in the long and complicated history of coin production, a field where no 2 days are ever exactly the same, and even the most tightly controlled processes can yield the occasional masterpiece by mistake. So whether you're a veteran collector with years of experience or a newcomer who just started looking through their change for fun, the story of the 2005 1 cent that changed everything is your invitation to join the hunt, to become part of a community that sees beyond face value and discovers the incredible stories hidden in copper and zinc and bronze, and to know that the next great discovery, the next $1 million penny, might be out there right now, just waiting for someone like you to find it. Next 2011 1 cent USA coin. Today we are diving into one of the most astonishing stories in modern numismatics, a true marvel that has stunned collectors, baffled experts, and captivated enthusiasts around the globe. Because this isn't just about any penny, it's about a 2011 1 cent coin that, against all odds, became one of the most valuable coins ever recorded in US history, selling for a staggering $30 million due to a perfect storm of minting mistakes, die anomalies, compositional mysteries, and a unique combination of factors so rare that experts agree this coin may be the only one of its kind in existence. And to think it started as just a humble penny, struck at the height of modern coin production when billions of coins were rolling off the presses, each one expected to be perfectly uniform, standardized, and without flaw. Yet in this vast ocean of routine strikes, one lone penny emerged carrying an incredible number of errors, physical oddities, and unexplained phenomena that would ultimately set it apart as a once-in-a-lifetime find. And to fully grasp the value and importance of this extraordinary coin, we need to begin with what went wrong during its creation. Because 2011 was a year like any other at the US Mint. Production was fast, automated, and tightly controlled. Yet even in the most technologically advanced settings, errors can still happen, especially when human oversight, mechanical failure, and chance intersect. And in the case of this 2011 penny, it's believed that a foreign planchette, one intended not for US cents but for another country's smaller coin, somehow ended up in the minting stream, which already meant that this coin began life with an off-metal base, lighter in weight, and with an unusual alloy mixture that caused the final coin to have a dull, silvery hue instead of the expected bright copper tone. And while off-metal errors are already prized among collectors, this coin's story doesn't stop there, because the striking itself was riddled with problems, starting with a massive misalignment of the obverse die, which caused the image of Abraham Lincoln to appear shifted significantly off-center, nearly falling off the edge of the coin, creating what numismatists refer to as a broad strike error. But this wasn't just a simple broad strike. In combination with the misalignment, the collar die that normally forms the coin's edge failed entirely, leading to a perfectly smooth edge rather than the standard rim, a detail that might escape the average eye but instantly catches the attention of experts. And as if that weren't enough, the die used to imprint Lincoln's image was not only off-center but also heavily worn, resulting in dramatic die deterioration doubling, or DDD, which created eerie shadow-like images around Lincoln's face, coat, and the legends on the obverse such as "In God We Trust" and "Liberty," with the doubling especially pronounced on the digits of the year 2011, where the second one shows a bizarre elongation and extra serif, almost as if the number had been typed twice in quick succession. And moving to the reverse of the coin, things get even more unusual because rather than displaying the standard Union shield introduced in 2010, this particular 2011 cent features a ghost-like partial imprint of the old Lincoln Memorial design, a phantom image likely caused by a rare die clash or transitional die event where dies from two different coin designs may have been mistakenly paired or reused without proper resurfacing, an error that almost never happens, but when it does, it produces coins that instantly command attention and value. And even beyond the clash, the reverse displays severe striations and flow lines radiating from the center to the edges, indicative of a high-pressure strike on a planchette that wasn't the correct metal composition. And under magnification, the fields of the coin show evidence of tiny raised dots known as die chips, small pieces of the die that broke away over time and left imperfections on every coin struck afterward. But here the chips are unusually large, particularly near the base of the shield and around the 1 cent inscription, adding to the visual complexity and proving this die was nearing catastrophic failure when this coin was struck. And if all this weren't enough to make it remarkable, X-ray fluorescence testing performed later by numismatic labs revealed that the coin contains trace elements of nickel and tin, metals not normally present in standard zinc planchets coated with copper, which further supported the theory that this was struck on an incorrect or experimental planchette, possibly a leftover from a discontinued foreign contract or an internal mint test piece that was never meant to be used in regular production. And this revelation opened up an entirely new area of speculation, with some experts proposing that this coin might represent a previously undocumented test strike, known in the collecting world as a pattern coin, possibly related to secretive research into alternate compositions or durability testing for future cents, which if true would make the coin not only an error but an unreleased experimental specimen. And pattern coins are among the most valuable numismatic pieces in existence because of their extreme rarity and historical significance. often issued in microscopic quantities or even as one-offs never intended for public release, and that brings us to the mystery of how this particular penny ever escaped the mint, with theories ranging from accidental inclusion in a bulk shipment of regular coins to a quiet disposal by mint employees unaware of its value, to the always rumored but never proven theory that mint insiders sometimes release rare pieces knowingly, albeit illegally, into circulation or collector hands, and whatever the origin, the coin surfaced not in a high-end coin show but in a roll of change at a flea market in rural Ohio, where it was noticed by a casual collector who sensed something odd about its weight and color, and after months of researching online forums, talking to experts, and finally sending it to be graded by both NGC and PCGS, the coin's true nature was slowly uncovered, and both grading services gave it incredibly high mint state grades due to its minimal wear and incredible error complexity, assigning special notations for multiple error types: off-metal strike, die clash, off-center strike, die deterioration doubling, reverse design anomaly, die chips, planchet striations, and edge flaw, all packed into a single coin, something unheard of in modern minting. And once the coin was slabbed and authenticated, it quickly caught the attention of elite collectors and high-stakes investors in rare American coinage, leading to a bidding war at a private auction house where prices escalated beyond expectation, ultimately reaching an unprecedented $30 million, shattering all prior records for modern U.S. era coins and securing its place in history not just as a valuable object but as a symbol of how the unexpected, the overlooked, and the ordinary can become extraordinary. And in the aftermath of the sale, the coin's story made headlines in both numismatic circles and mainstream media, inspiring a new generation of collectors to search the change more carefully, to study the fine details, and to appreciate the marvels of minting machinery, human error, and pure chance that give rise to such miraculous finds. And even now, years later, no other coin quite like it has been found, making this 2011 1 cent an unrivaled specimen, a perfect storm of mistakes and mysteries that resulted in a piece of history worth more than most houses. And collectors continue to study high-resolution photos of the coin, their eyes about its origins, and search for similar pieces that might confirm or expand the known error types associated with it. And as more people join the hunt, stories emerge from every corner of America: garage sales, estate auctions, old coffee cans filled with pennies, all being poured over with newfound intensity, because the lesson of the $30 million penny is clear. Even in a world of mass production, anomalies happen, and when they do, they can create artifacts of stunning rarity and value. So if you've ever thought of checking the coins in your pocket, now is the time, because who knows, you might be holding the next multi-million-dollar mistake, a tiny treasure forged by accident, lost to history, and waiting patiently to be discovered by someone who knows what to look for. And the beauty of this journey is that it can start anywhere, with anyone, because the next coin to change the world could be sitting quietly in your change jar right now. Last 1991 1 cent USA coin. Today we are diving headfirst into one of the most astonishing, rarest, and most sought-after stories in all of numismatics, a story that shatters expectations and defies all logic, because it involves a simple 1991 1 cent coin. Yes, a penny, that has achieved mythical status after selling for an eye-watering $78 million due to a confluence of mind-boggling minting errors, nearly impossible production anomalies, and strange, unexplainable features that have baffled the greatest coin experts in the world and captivated collectors and historians alike. Because what appears at first glance to be an ordinary Lincoln cent minted during a fairly standard production year has turned out to be one of the greatest hidden treasures in American numismatic history. And the deeper we go into this miraculous coin's features, the more we uncover layers upon layers of jaw-dropping oddities, complexities, and minting blunders that collectively elevate this single 1991 penny from pocket change to global sensation. And to appreciate just how significant this discovery is, We must explore every nuance, every detail, every inexplicable imperfection that has transformed this particular coin into a numismatic legend, starting with the composition. Because while most 1991 pennies were struck on the usual copper-plated zinc planchets used since 1982, this rare piece was somehow minted on a bronze alloy planchette similar to those discontinued years earlier, a composition never officially reported in circulation strikes for this year, which raises immediate red flags and sets this coin apart chemically, as it weighs slightly more than its copper-plated counterparts, ringing differently when struck and displaying a distinct reddish-brown tone not seen in standard 1991 issues, and already that one factor, being struck on an obsolete bronze planchette, puts it in an elite class of off-metal errors. But this coin goes far beyond that, because the planchette wasn't just the wrong metal, it was flawed from the beginning, showing embedded air pockets, known as lamination errors, which caused tiny but visible fissures on the coin's surface, particularly near Lincoln's profile and along the rim, giving the coin a cracked, veined appearance that adds to its eerie uniqueness. And then there's the striking process itself, which was fraught with complications, beginning with an incredible double die obverse error that resulted in clear, unmistakable doubling on Lincoln's face, the motto, "In God We Trust," the word liberty, and most dramatically on the date 1991, where the doubling is so pronounced that it creates a ghost-like shadow of each number, something that can be seen even with the naked eye, and this level of doubling is extraordinarily rare, especially in this year, and it has been confirmed not as a result of mechanical shifting but as a true double die caused by a misalignment during the hubbing process, which means that every detail of Lincoln's bust and the surrounding inscriptions were accidentally engraved twice into the die itself, creating a mirror image effect that serious collectors and error specialists prize above almost all else. And if that weren't enough, this penny also exhibits a dramatic off-center strike, with approximately 25% of the design missing on the obverse and reverse, resulting from the coin being improperly seated in the striking chamber, a mistake that not only disrupts the overall symmetry of the coin but also causes uneven pressure that warps the outer edges, adding yet another error category to this already unbelievable coin. And then comes the reverse, which is equally full of surprises, because while the Lincoln Memorial design is present, it is deeply affected by a rare die clash error where the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchette between them, leaving faint but clearly visible impressions of Lincoln's face inside the memorial structure, most notably visible under magnification between the columns, a haunting image that has led some to nickname this coin the Ghost of Lincoln. And the ghostly imagery is not the only anomaly on the reverse, as the 1 cent and United States of America inscriptions also show signs of extreme die wear and partial grease filling, causing the letters to appear incomplete, fading out toward the tops and bottoms, creating a sort of phantom typeface that only adds to the coin's growing list of dramatic errors. And on top of this, there's strong evidence of a broad strike with no defined rim, as the collar die appears to have malfunctioned, allowing the coin to expand beyond normal parameters and resulting in a flared edge that deviates from the standard cent dimensions. And every single one of these features, any one of which would make a coin valuable on its own, are present together on a single, unbelievably rare 1991 penny, creating a once-in-history alignment of errors that has never been documented before or since. And as if that weren't enough, what truly pushes this coin into the stratosphere of value is its pristine preservation, because somehow, despite its chaotic birth, this coin shows almost no wear, no major abrasions, and retains a lustrous surface with deep red-brown toning that indicates it was never circulated, raising questions about how it ever left the mint in the first place, with some experts speculating it may have been smuggled out by an employee or included in an unsearched mint bag that was never properly inspected. And this mystery only adds to the coin's allure, making it not just a physical rarity but also a tantalizing historical puzzle, a piece of Americana that carries with it secrets from the mint's inner workings, and after its discovery by a casual collector in a box of unsorted coins inherited from a grandfather's estate, it quickly attracted the attention of local coin dealers, eventually making its way to the hands of the professional coin grading service, who spent weeks analyzing its features, verifying its errors, confirming its off-metal composition, and ultimately awarding it an astonishing MS67RB grade with extensive annotations for multiple major errors. And once it was officially slabbed and certified, the coin became the subject of intense interest in the numismatic world, with collectors, investors, and museums all expressing interest, leading to an exclusive invitation-only auction where the bidding was nothing short of explosive, and in a flurry of paddle raises and online bids from around the globe, the price rose from thousands to millions to tens of millions, until finally closing at an unheard-of $78 million, instantly making it the most expensive era coin in United States history and solidifying its place as one of the most remarkable discoveries in the entire field of rare coin collecting. And the ripple effects of this sale were immediate, sparking renewed interest in 1991 pennies and sending collectors scouring their collections, coin rolls, and inherited boxes for anything that might match or even resemble the now legendary $78 million penny, and forums lit up with photos, discussions, and speculation about whether more such coins could exist, whether this was a one-off mistake or the product of a faulty run, and whether mint records might ever surface to explain how such a coin was created and then released, or whether it was truly a numismatic unicorn, a freak occurrence never to be repeated. And in the wake of its discovery, a new generation of collectors has been inspired to take up the hobby, drawn in by the idea that unimaginable wealth could be hiding in the most ordinary places, because this story proves that even something as small, common, and overlooked as a penny can turn out to be a treasure of unimaginable worth, and beyond its monetary value, this coin has become a symbol, a reminder that human error, mechanical imperfection, and sheer chance can converge to create something so unique, so beautiful in its flaws, that it transcends its intended function and becomes a legend. And the $78 million 1991 penny is now housed in a private collection under museum-grade security, occasionally loaned out for special exhibits, where it continues to draw crowds and spark imaginations, and every time it is displayed, it inspires new questions, new dreams, and new possibilities, because the truth is, there could be more coins like it out there, quietly resting in change jars, hidden in drawers, or waiting patiently in rolls to be discovered by someone curious enough to look closely. And with the excitement surrounding this coin only growing, experts now believe that the next great find could happen at any moment, anywhere, in any ordinary home, and perhaps the next chapter in this incredible saga is just around the corner, and all it takes is one sharp-eyed collector, one magnifying glass, and one extraordinary penny to change everything, because in the world of coins, anything is possible, and this 1991 cent is living proof that the impossible can be real, that history can hide in plain sight, and that the most valuable things can sometimes be found where you least expect them.